Welcome to Kiss the Reviews. I'm Armando, that's Corey, and today we're doing 1995's Judge Dredd. This movie was requested on Patreon by Damien, and if you want to follow us, just go to the Patreon app, download the app, look for Kiss the Reviews, and you can sign up. It's free to sign up, and for the free subscription, you get a lovely review just like this one, except we have movie clips in there. That's a little bit longer with some editorial stuff by me and Corey. But if you want to pay, you can, it's a couple of bucks, and you get some added content and movie watch parties, pre-show stuff. It's a good time. So with that said, let's get into the cast. This lovely cast of 1995's Judge Dredd.
Just hope this is the 1920s Yankees lineup, bro. All hitters.
All hitters. This film stars Sylvester Stallone as Judge Dredd, Armand Assante as Rico, Rob Schneider as Fergie, and Diane Lane as Judge Hershey. So we did talk about this a little bit because apparently at this time in 1995, Morgan Freeman didn't have the cachet. So they needed a narration to open this film. And they said, hey, how about James Earl Jones? He's not doing anything right now. So the movie opens with a narration by James Earl Jones. And he gives us all of the setup we need for what we're about to witness. And he also sets up the true bad guy in this film, not Rico, climate change.
Well, he gives us all the background he thinks we need.
Yes.
Because there is a substantial amount of things missing from this. Namely, as we discussed a little bit in Patreon, road laws when you have sky cars.
You're really hung up on that part of this.
I'm flummoxed. They got me straight tripping, boo. I don't know what to do.
But are there any stoplights? I need to know.
It's chaos. It's just fucking chaos, and it hurts my brain.
But at the beginning of this film, after the narration, we see Fergie returning home to Mega City 1 after serving.
I thought it was Fergie singing the national anthem at the All-Star game.
No, and peeing her pants? No. She's not doing either one of those things. But we see Fergie returning home to Mega City 1 after serving his sentence in the Aspen Penal Colony. Sounds sexual, but it's not. So he gets taken to Heavenly Haven that is now in the middle of a block war. And there's just, this is what I don't get, because Judge Dredd, this is where we see Judge Dredd. Like, the two judges are pinned down and they're like, we need backup. It's Judge Hershey and like the rookie cop. And Judge Dredd shows up and he's just like, you're under arrest. There's thousands of people, just gunfire, bombs, all kinds of shit going on. And they go into the house, into the apartment complex, high rise, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. And he just kills 7 people and everything stops. So the other 990 people that are in the middle of this block war are just like, shit, Judge Dredd needs business.
Yep. This is how you put down a protest in France. In America, they'd have just kept going and then protested this guy on top of everything else.
Yes.
But in France, they'd been like, sacre bleu! And ran away and went back to their homes.
En garde, mon chéris, wherever you are.
After Dredd executes all of these block warriors or whatever they are, he catches Fergie like trying to get away in like an android selling M&Ms or whatever. And he sentences him to 5 years back in Aspen, and he's only been out of jail for like less than 24 hours.
Yeah, dude, this dude is pretty much everybody's picture of what they think a modern day cop is. I don't make mistakes. Going to jail.
The law doesn't make mistakes.
He's so absurd in this character.
Yeah.
And like My favorite part, I don't think Judge Dredd is great at his job. It's everybody else is fucking stupid. The other judges.
Yeah.
Because Diane Lane and her rookie partner are pinned down by these bullets, and Judge Dredd stands there. And he walks up to them like there's nothing going on with his Britney Spears mic. He's like, hey, what are you guys doing? And they're like, they're shooting at us. And he explains that the bullets aren't strong enough to reach them in any kind of dangerous velocity based on the distance they're being fired from. And like, he says it like, this is pretty standard judge knowledge.
Yeah.
So really, every other cop is just really bad at their job. He's average at best.
Yes.
At
Yes, absolutely.
best.
And then he was like, oh, baby, baby. Did a spin move, and he was into the high rise to kill some folks.
By the way, Sly, that would have been comedy.
That's how you write that.
He's like, no, the comedy's going to be, I'm going to ask this guy how he pleads, and when he says not guilty, I'm going to go, I knew you'd say that. And then I'm still going to shoot him.
I knew you'd say that.
Dredd then goes and has a meeting with Chief Justice Fargo, who asks him about the executions, and he was like, had to do it, whatever. So he orders Dredd to teach ethics at the academy a couple of days per week. I thought it would be more beneficial for Judge Dredd, for him to like say, hey, these are my orders. Go learn ethics at the academy versus go teach ethics. Cool guy.
And, well, his ethics class is like, this is my gun. And only I can use my gun. This is my rifle. This is my gun.
25-round sidearm with mission variable voice programmed ammunition.
This is my rifle. There are many like it, but this one is mine.
And then he like demonstrates the different bullet, like signal flare and grenade and happy-go-lucky rounds and fireworks. And then he's like, and this is your rule book. Learn it. Deuces. Ethics over.
The only thing that counts is this.
There is no ethics taught whatsoever. He basically says, like, I trust my lord and my sword. That's it.
Yeah.
Class over.
That's it. But we cut to the Aspen penal colony. We see Warden Miller. He's meeting with Rico, right? And he gives him a judge's badge and a picture of a reporter, Vardis Hammond, who apparently has been highly critical while reporting on the street judges. And then Rico just kills Miller and escapes from the penal colony, which I didn't understand here because I thought Miller was giving him the badge to go take care of the reporter, and he was going to let him out. Am I wrong in that interpretation of that scene?
No, we needed James Earl Jones to come back in and tell us what was happening exactly.
I didn't get it.
The whole thing was just.
I was like, why would you do that? It's dumb.
It's every point of this farce of a fucking setup to the trial. They keep us in the dark, which is typically fun if you're actually doing like a whodunit. But that's not what you're doing here. No, this is a comic book movie. You're supposed to spell it out for us, especially the more ridiculous it is.
Yes.
The more time you're supposed to spend explaining to us what is happening.
Yeah.
And this is like, dude, we're in the fucking justice hall, stupid. These are they said Dredd on tape. Clearly it's him. And then like magically they're like, now we got it. It's DNA, bro. They couldn't convict OJ with DNA. Are you out of your fucking mind? People don't know what that is when this movie came out.
You were correct.
The funniest thing about all of this exposition is it's Hershey, Judge Hershey, and Dredd. And they're at the academy, and she like hears him talking not about ethics at all to his ethics class of rookies or whatever. And then they start to have this like conversation about his isolation and he should have friends. And Dredd is like, I had a friend once in the academy, but I was forced to judge him. And that's it. And walk away. And then we don't know anything about that. Like, obviously, if you're paying attention, you kind of get the gist, right, of what's going on here.
Mm-hmm.
But
also, it's more like, I don't think anybody wants to be friends with you.
Yeah, you're kind of a cock.
Your friend was probably like, he walked out of a bar drunk with you, also drunk, and you're like, oh, drunk and disorderly, I'm judging you. Like, you do not seem like you're exactly a barrel of monkeys off duty. So I'm passing on hanging out with you.
Yeah, there's people in life that you're like, that guy seems like a fun guy. Like, I'd like to have a beer with him and have a fun, lighthearted conversation. The Judge Dredd? Nah, not for me. He's not one of those guys.
No.
He's going to pull you over for speeding and then blow up your car, because that's a thing.
And I like how they're setting this up between Diane Lane and Sly. This is the one thing I'll give this movie up to this point, is because there is zero romantic interest from Sly to her or her to him. She admires him as a cop and as a teacher, and like really is into like how he polices. And she's a younger police officer, so for all of that to be in play, I like that, because at this point already in Demolition Man, I think they're having like the virtual sex.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, dude, Diane Lane, Sandra Bullock at fucking 25 years old are not fucking 50-year-old Sly. It ain't I don't care how morally righteous he is. It ain't fucking happening.
Even with his blue contacts.
No. It's insane.
But we cut to Rico now, who he's like escaped, and he goes to this pawn shop to get a box with the judge's uniform, the lawgiver pistol that's waiting for him there. Mm-hmm. He kills the pawn shop owner for no fucking reason, and then reanimates this huge combat droid to be his bodyguard throughout the whole thing, which he doesn't really need.
No.
But whatever. So now we have, iRobot. He's running around. From there, it cuts to the apartment, the reporter's apartment.
Mm-hmm.
And a judge bursts in, kills Hammond and his wife. It's captured on security cameras. And as the cameras, it's captured on security camera as the reporter screams, Dredd. So Dredd's arrested. And Hershey, he chooses Hershey as his defense lawyer. And they play the video at this trial. And I'm like, okay, this is, I know, dystopian future, but it's future nonetheless. Okay. Dude, it's 2025. We're rocking in 4 and 8K right now. The video that they show at this trial looks like a PBS fucking video from the 1970s. Yeah, and they're like, oh, this is where your DNA comes up.
The whole thing is stupid. Like,
yeah,
in Alien, it makes sense that they have like MS-DOS programs, because you're not going to overwrite a computer with fucking solitaire.
Yeah.
Right. And like fucking Windows 95. It needs to operate the ship. So that makes sense. You're running a basic fucking computer program. Fine. You're on Earth. You have a war robot running around as a bodyguard for Armand Assante. And yet I'm watching a fucking ADT robbery from 1987 7-Eleven. Get the fuck out of my face, dude. What are you talking about? It's so ridiculous. And then, yes, the DNA. And again, the thing that gets me with this is nobody brings this up before. Sly does a whole demonstration to a cadet class about the gun and doesn't bring up that it's DNA coded to you, so nobody else will ever be able. That would have been the perfect exposition and foreshadowing for now bringing it up at the trial.
Well,
But not doing that, it's like you're just making shit up. It's like an improv class with a
No,
bad
but-
improver.
they are making shit up because even like as the audience, like first time viewing, right? And I know I've seen this film. I hate to say it, but multiple times. But
Jesus.
and viewing this time through, but when you're viewing it for the first time, you're surprised as the audience that like, oh, it's DNA coded. You're like, oh no shit. Everybody in the movie was like, oh no shit. They didn't even know.
A failsafe security.
Do you know about this?
So you're just bringing this out willy-nilly.
Except for the pawn store owner who brings it up in passing to Armand Assante. Don't touch that gun. It's DNA locked to the... Like, he says it real quick,
Yeah.
and Armand Assante's like, oh, I guess I'm a judge. Shoots him. Like,
Yeah.
that's that scene, and it's done.
Yeah.
But then again,
But,
to your point, when they bring it up with the trial, everybody's like, wait, what? We weren't aware of this. That's classified information, except for pawn shop owners.
But so Dredd gets sentenced to death. And Judge Fargo decides, after being pushed from Judge Griffin, to retire as Chief Justice. So he asks the council to be lenient to Dredd. So Griffin sentences him to life in prison instead of death.
Yes. And it is important to know that the judge that sentences him to life kills cops for a living.
And this is Max. And Max kills cops for a living.
That's all I kept seeing him as. Like, I kept expecting Brigitte Nielsen to be like, should I assassinate him?
Well, and Rico, like this is where shit go crazy, right? This is where the movie takes a perk 30 and just starts going fucking nuts. Because Armand Assante goes into Griffin's office literally right after the trial when his giant robot that nobody noticed walked in to the building. But whatever. And he was like, hey, we gotta get the program, the Janus program back out. And Griffin's like, no, we need chaos on the streets so I can sneakily say like, oh, we need to incorporate this Janus program because it's a whole... Bro, like the hoops that they're jumping through for this, because even when the streets be doing going crazy, they still give him shit about like saying that we need to incorporate this Janus program and get the genetically modified kids or whatever. Like they still give him shit.
It is literally the plot from Demolition Man.
You were correct.
One of the big leaders of the new society awakens or creates a fucking super species of criminal so they can cause chaos and they can bring back to control. And then it turns out, oh, you can't control the super criminal. They're going to flip the tables on you and make more super. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Well. How the turntables.
Well, and then you get this side quest that Dredd has because he gets put on the shuttle next to Schneider, and Schneider's like, I guess the law is wrong and can be wrong. A dirk.
I never looked at it that way.
See, even he's like, hey, Schneider, you're making a lot of good points right now.
Schneider preaches, dog. that man is preaching.
Dude, after this scene, Sly was like, maybe I won't talk to my daughters either. So Sly gets attacked on this shuttle.
He did worse. He put him in a reality show.
Yes. The shuttle gets shot down by like the Angel family, this like weird dystopian religious family group thing that are cannibals.
And again, another gotcha, because Sly lists all their stuff while they're strung up. And we have this huge fucking go back and forth between the family and Sly and like, oh, you're the Angel family. And like, yeah, this is Tommy and little Tommy and brother Tommy and Timmy Tommy and robot Tommy. And everybody's like, huh? And they all say something fun. And then like Rob Schneider weasels his way out of the ropes by doing the, hey, brother, I'm with you. Praise Jesus.
Yeah.
Which that wasn't even meant to be there. That was just a break. Camera wasn't even rolling. That was just Rob Schneider talking. And so they took him out of the ropes. And then all of a sudden he's like, that was a bad mistake because they're also cannibals.
And then?
Exactly, dude. Bad improv. Fuck me.
This was also the comedy that he wrote in this.
Dude, every time I was in a scene with Sly in this movie, I would just look at the director and go, so that's a fucking cut, right? Because there's literally nowhere for me to go with this.
Oh, but so after this little comedic, like this little sketch comedy bit, they escape the Angel family here.
Mm-hmm.
They kill pretty much everybody, but Judge Fargo comes in and he starts shooting bitches, helps them escape, but he gets killed while he's trying to help him escape. And this is where Fargo tells Dredd about Janus and the genetics project and cloning children to be the best judges of all the judges. And then he dies. So
and Sly has an existential crisis for all of about 5 minutes where he's like, I was lied to. My life's a lie. Let's go fix the world.
So Rico's my brother. Well, one of my favorite parts in this, again, future computers and things. One of my favorite parts where I paused it because I laid down on the couch and was laughing out loud. Was as he's realizing all this and Fargo's giving him all this information, you have Hershey and one of like the rookie judges that's like, he's a computer whiz. It's the future. You should all be computer whizzes, FYI, but whatever. Sure, I'll buy that for $1. So they're in front of this fucking goddamn, the very first Macintosh that ever existed in like 3045 or whatever year it is. And they're going through and they can't find the picture of Rico in the thing because the computer shut it down. So they're looking at Dredd's family photo of him as a baby. And he's like, well, if I take away this, just the parents don't exist. That was created. And if I take away the background and it's just this lame picture of a pixelated baby in a pixelated lab. It's the fucking dumbest thing ever.
2 hours later.
That whole scene was fucking ridiculous.
It would be great if it turns out that this rookie's just catfishing everybody. Like Sly really does have parents. Now they just made him think he's like fucking created in a lab and he like goes home and shoots his fake parents.
Yeah.
It turns into a whole Scott Tinnerman situation.
Oh my God.
It's so dumb.
Dude, it's ridiculous. And then, again, this movie is filled with and thens. Dredd and Fergie have to break back into Mega City. They have to sneak back in. You got the fire breathing thing. He's like, one team did it. They all got cooked. How did they get cooked in this thing? It takes forever for this fire to blow out of this goddamn tunnel. So it takes so long that Rob Schneider trips, falls, yells for Dredd. Dredd stops, has to fucking gather himself, and then turns around to go get fucking Schneider. And the fire still isn't coming yet.
And this fire blows out every 30 seconds. Yet they're able to walk on this hot metal.
Yes. It's they're working on the same laws as the flying cars and the traffic laws.
Yeah, which is to say, there is no fucking laws. I don't care if it's pseudoscience or whatever the fuck, you're just making it all up. But live in that fucking world.
Yes.
If fire is hot, it's hot for everything.
Yep. 100%. But so Dredd and Fergie finally break into Mega City. They get to Rico and Griffin just as Rico murders the whole council. They get away on this Flash Gordon-ass sled that always malfunctions until Sly punches it. and they're chased by the law. And
By the way, this was the only foreshadowing they've actually done.
Yes.
Because Sly makes a comment back at when he's training ethics that their bikes won't also work half the time.
Yes. Yeah.
And now it finally pays off for us.
Yeah. As he punches it. But this had to have, I don't know if this upset you or not, because this goes to the whole flying car scenario.
Mm-hmm.
They're literally just willy-nilly flying through everything. And I know in a normal chase scene on regular roads, you know, you're not obeying traffic signals, but they're flying through fucking billboards and shit. And so this is the one thing. This goes back to the fire, hot, not hot.
Mm-hmm.
So you have the billboard that they're flying through, and it's like a light. It's just like an LED light thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it breaks, and they fly through. And then the light turns back on, and then the one sled crashes into, so the light's solid. So now it's just a solid sign. Like I didn't understand. There's all kinds of dumb physics things that just don't make sense in this movie.
It's just, yeah. I'm fine. Like I said, I'm fine with it if it does that for everyone. But it can't just change the rules willy-nilly because convenience for plot.
Yeah, exactly. But they take their ghetto sled over to Hershey's fucking apartment. They convince Hershey of everything. They tell her everything, and she's like, "Oh, okay, I totally believe you now." So she goes with him to the Statue of Liberty, where Rico has already started this Janus project. And then Griffin finds out that the bad guy be doing bad things. And like now he just put his DNA into the thing. So he gets like all like, "Oh, you can't do that." He's like, "Yeah, cool. Bang, bang. Griffin, you're dead." He actually has the robot rip his arms and legs off.
Yes.
So
is this where they mentioned too that they moved the Statue of Liberty?
I think so.
Because they show it earlier in the movie, like it's in the middle of Times Square. And at first, I was like, "Oh, that's cool." They're showing like population has grown so much that like they've actually pushed all the way out to Ellis Island and had to build a city around the Statue of Liberty. Nah, I just moved it. I just moved it.
Because the Statue of Liberty and things.
Why would you move the Statue of Liberty to Times Square? I don't know. Little gay, out on an island, lonely woman. Sad, lonely woman needs to come to Times Square. Get laid, maybe.
Like, if you're making these, because that's basically the plot of this whole thing with this dystopian future. They just made these giant cities.
Yeah. And
everybody just moved in the cities. They walled them off, and there you go. And you decided that it was important to pick up the Statue of Liberty and move it into the city
with a big ass hole in her head
for no reason.
None.
There is one reason, and again, I didn't read these comics, so I don't know if that's a thing. If it's not in the comics, the only reason they moved the Statue of Liberty into the middle of Times Square is so that at the end of this movie they could be like, "Oh," and then they fight in the Statue of Liberty. They had to make it make sense.
Pretty much, yeah.
Because America and things. So they go to the Statue of Liberty. Griffin gets killed by Rico's robot. When Dredd, Hershey, and Fergie try to get into the lab, Rico's robot shoots Fergie. He grabs Hershey. And then Rico just decides that he's going to close it all off. And I just want to have a talk with you, because we're brothers and things. Because now he turned into JCVD. And he's like, "Oh, brother, I need to explain to you all of my plans so that Judge Dredd could be a part of his plans or whatever."
Not even a part of his plans. The Chief Justice.
Yeah. For his super race of judges that he's putting together.
Like, dude, the whole movie, you set him up to go to jail and to potentially die so you can rat fuck the entire system. And you're like, that was the other guy. Me and you were brothers, dog. Here's what I want you to do. I'm going to set up this super evil thing, but I want you to be in charge of all of it.
Yeah, even though you sent me to prison and now I'm trying to rat fuck you. And okay, cool. Sure. Let's do that.
Yeah.
So
Rico's
Dredd,
ride or fucking die, bro.
yeah, he is. Dredd obviously refuses to join Rico's, master plan.
Hang on a second. Is this the fucking James Cagney movie? You know what I'm saying? Where like his brother's like the good, James Cagney's brother's the good guy who's like a district attorney, and Rico, who's James Cagney, is the gangster.
You mentioned James Cagney, and I went. I don't even know what language you're talking right now.
Nah, see? That guy.
Come out and take it, you dirty yellow-bellied rat, or I'll give it to you through the door.
Dredd here obviously refuses to join Rico. They fight hand to hand. Fergie distracts the robot long enough to disable it, and Hershey fights with Rico's assistant too. So like there's all kinds of crazy shit and chaos going on. The fight ends with Rico cornering Dredd. Dredd's like hanging on to the edge of the Statue of Liberty, and as he tells him that his judgment is death, as he hangs off the Statue of Liberty, Dredd like grabs Rico, pulls him over the edge. He falls to his death. And then Hershey finds Dredd and helps him to safety. And then on the street, all of a sudden, Dredd is given this like hero's greeting.
Yep.
And when asked if he'd like to take a position as the Chief Justice, he refuses, saying he would rather remain just a street judge. And then we get this weird kiss at the end. Like there's literally no sexually charged moments in this movie. And then he's like, he's on his chopper. He's like, he's up here with the handlebars up here on the chopper. And he's just like, gang, 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 gang. And he's like, yeah, I just want to be the street judge. You going to make out with this shit or no?
Yeah. This weird kiss and this awkward smile shared between them.
Yes.
Where it's like, oh my God, we just bounced each other, but we're judges. That's crazy. And then he does this, I knew you'd say that.
Feels good to be human, don't you think?
I knew you'd say that.
Before going back off to administer justice.
Yes.
Fuck off.
On his chopper.
Which is just a normal bike. He's just short-armed as fuck.
He's 5'8". He's like, I can't reach the pedals.
That's what he looks like riding a BMX.
I think it would be cooler if they did have the high handlebar, like motorcycle type flying vehicles. I think that would be cool.
I think it would have been cooler if he literally was riding away on a bike with a basket in front, a little bell. And he's like, my place is on the street. Ding, ding. Has like an orange flag off the back. That'd been the shit. That's comedy, Sly.
That's comedy. His mask has a little propeller on the top.
Perfect.
I think we rewrote this. It's a fucking hit. Somebody needs to greenlight that.
Can't be any worse, that's for sure. This is look, I'm not going to say it's the worst movie we've ever seen, because it's not.
No.
But also, what? Like, why? Just why?
Even the action scenes weren't great.
No, they were barely there. The one Sly, at least in Demolition Man, which you have to compare this to, because they're the same fucking movie. Sly has hand-to-hand combat. It's not here.
Yeah.
It just does. It's all guns, and taking away from that, it's future guns, which are just boring as shit.
Yeah, where apparently you just yell commands at your gun and it just does it.
Full auto. Rapid fire. Rapid fire. Armor piercing. Armor piercing. Double whammy. Double whammy.
We're going 2 at a time now.
Bubbles.
Okay.
Like, just, it's just not, there is no moment in here where you're like, fuck yeah, this is a fun ride.
Yeah.
You're not on it.
Yeah. Well,
there's
and again,
nothing relatable. You're completely out of every real world thing you could connect with. I mean, Sly's not even a human being. He's a fucking clone. You can't connect with anybody in this movie.
I don't think I'm off base in saying that this has been a widely criticized movie since its release in 95. Like, even comic book fans weren't a big fan of this. But I never read the comic books, right?
No.
So even if, and this is the only way that, and we talked about it a little bit in the Patreon pre-show, 90s comic book adaptations into film were not great. And I think they tried to stay on the comic book side of things. Like, if this whole film was drafted and put into a comic book, and I'm not sure if this film was one of the episodes of the comic book, but if you did it in the comic, I think it would work. It just doesn't work on film.
No, not at all.
Like,
just not at all. I never read the comics either. I would have to guess that Judge Dredd is a second, third tier comic kind of thing. Like, not really like a, Hulk or Superman or any of these big A-list, even B-list guys like Iron Man was. And so I would caution anybody, like, don't make these movies.
Yeah.
The reason, like, a lot of comic book movies have even X-Men, go back to the original X-Men. You like it because it's an X-Men movie. It's a live-action X-Men movie. The movie, compared to what's put out today, it's not even close.
No.
It's bad. It plays like you're reading a comic book, and that's kind of what this is.
I think that's where they made the mistake in the 90s with all of these, because they wanted to, like, stay true to the whole comic book thing. And it's like, once you put it on film, it can't be comic booky, right?
No, you have to blur the line. Those are the ones that always work. Superman, he lived in the real world. He had a fucking job at a newspaper. Yeah. You know what I mean? He's an alien, so it was weird. Like, everything else in these other comic books are set in reality. Even if they move towards the future later in their lives and develop technology, it makes sense because of these people in that moment.
Yep.
Fine, we're going to advance. This is like, we advanced up to a point and then we just went dystopian as fuck. Yeah. But also, everybody still has jobs and it's a real world, but also not. It's like Blade Runner, but not. It's like Demolition Man, but not. It's like all of this other movies, but not.
Yes. No, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, this not for me. this we don't give thumbs up here, thumbs down. This is just a not for me kind of film.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and rate this dog shit on my shit-o-meter. This is dog shit.
On my poop emoji meter, this gets 2 poops. Oh shit. Well, that's all I got, man. Good. Do you got anything else?
No, subscribe to Rob Schneider's podcast.
Or not.
I'm riding that train all the way.
Oh, shit. I know you are.
That was a mistake.
For Corey, I'm Armando. This is Kiss the Reviews, and this was 1995's Judge Dredd.